Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. It's 2 o'clock where Michael Milone is at. He's the VP of Sales and Business Development for Infinity Massage Chairs. Welcome, Michael.
Alan, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this. I haven't got to do this with you in the past, and I've known you for, I'm probably going on 10, 12 years now. So
yeah, we've known each other for a long time, but I'll tell you, the industry in our time that I've known you and you've known me, the industry has changed substantially. And we could talk a little bit about that as we go on, because you have kind of an interesting viewpoint of the industry. You're the business development person for Infinity, so you kind of know where all the chairs are going and where all the activity is. And I know you've always been kind of a good feeder of information to me about what's going on in the industry, because, I have a vantage point, but it's fairly limited, but as a retailer, but you're a distributor, you're with the distributor. So you see a side to the business that the rest of us don't. So I'm eager to hear a little bit about that, but thanks for taking time for being with me today. I know you say you're calling from New Jersey. You're on a little bit of a family getaway for Thanksgiving. And I appreciate you doing this the day before Thanksgiving. I'm sure it's not the most convenient.
No problem whatsoever. Yeah, we're down in Jersey visiting some family. And of course, anytime I can get on the call with you, as you know, I feel like I don't miss a call from you normally.
Yeah, you're very, very good. You always pick up, which amazes me, because I know you have way bigger clients out there. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. But You're always very good to me. Thank you.
Of course.
What I thought maybe we could. By the way, your home base is in New Hampshire, and of course we've done videos from there, from your main office. And as a matter of fact, we did the Luminary review with you, kind of with me sitting in the chair and you describing it to us. That's a very popular video on our YouTube channel. So you have a nice facility there, very nice, good size, big, but anyways, I feel grateful that we have you here today. Now, you're kind of, I know Infinity's big on broadening their reach. It's, you don't just sell online. As a matter of fact, I think you, if anything, and you can correct me on this and support what I'm saying, but you guys like to focus on more brick and mortar type store, try out the chair kind of situations, as opposed to strictly online. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think, yeah, 100%. We definitely have broadened our horizons, have really dove into multiple different distribution channels throughout the country. Really don't just stay put in one segment. Like you said, we're not really, in the beginning, yes, of course, we were to building the brand of selling somewhat direct, either online, e-commerce, at local trade shows. That's kind of slowed down a little bit, where we are more a distributor now and building the brand, as we have, and having people like yourself, brick and mortar retail. We really dove into the brick and mortar retail, probably going back to 2019 was probably the first year that we really dove deep into the brick and mortar. You've been to our space in Las Vegas Furniture Mart. We've had great success over the past 5 years of really growing that channel and getting more and more furniture retailers carrying the Infinity brand. But yeah, very well diversified through multiple different channels.
I know you're busy. You travel a lot, because it seems like every time I call you, you're saying something like, "Oh, I'm just getting off a plane," or "I'm just landing in wherever." And I know you're a busy guy, so I know you have been very proactive. Infinity, and in with you as the lead, very active in building your distribution channel, and I think that's pretty cool, because what it does is it builds the validity of your product, and it also builds the trust, because people see your product more. They see it through various and sundry stores and online sites, and through trade shows and state fairs. And so I know you've done a very, very good job of building your brand and building your distribution channels. And I might just add, I was in Texas. I know the Texas State Fair is a big deal for you guys. You have a channel through Mattress Firm there, and they sell a lot of chairs with you. But I was in Texas visiting family, and we had a wedding that we had to attend to on the other side of Dallas. And part of the plan for going to this wedding was to make sure we did not go between these hours and these hours, because that's when the Texas State Fair was running, and there was also a football game in the Sugar Bowl there. So tell me a little bit about that experience. I remember you sending me some pictures. It's enormous.
Yeah, it's a great event. I mean, we have a great partnership with Mattress Firm, as you stated. We've been have had a partnership with them since about 2016, and it's always been a great one for us. And this past year, they had a great year at the State Fair of Texas, and yeah, they normally set up multiple booths throughout the fairgrounds. There could be 20, 30 floor models on the floor at a given time. And I mean, the State Fair of Texas is probably one of the bigger fairs out there. They normally see anywhere between 2.8 and 3.1 million people. So it's the brand recognition of seeing our brand in a booth, with that many eyeballs on it with a short period of time. I believe it's about 24 days. And again, Mattress Firm being who Mattress Firm is, they have a great brand themselves. People know who they are. They trust them. And same thing with Infinity. And that's why the partnership works so well. Yeah. And yeah, they sell hundreds of massage chairs within 24 days. And, it's amazing. It's amazing when you can sell that much at a high ticket, especially this past year with the current economy. Their starting price point was around $6,000 and all the way up to $10,000. And the $10,000 chair was their best seller. So, I mean, it's a great arena to be selling massage chairs in.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned those prices and the popularity of the higher end chairs. There's a mentality maybe a little bit in the economy now that things are slow, and we are seeing more sales of lower priced chairs, but there still is a high demand for the high end chairs. And I appreciate you saying that. And it's not like, I think the market is getting flooded with a lot of cheaper chairs, lesser quality chairs. Personally, I think they are built in smaller factories with poor quality control, but the price is so appealing to people. So it seems like there's this faction of the industry is starting to be more prominent. But the premium chairs, which is essentially what you guys sell and which we sell, they are still very much in demand. I mean, you sell hundreds of chairs at that Texas State Fair. My goodness. And by the way, when you say booth, I think most people in their mind's eye are imagining some little booth at a local, our local county fair.
Yeah.
As maybe selling some bread loaves or some homemade jewelry. When your booth is not a fair word to describe what you guys have there at that Texas State Fair. It's enormous. It's like a store. It's like a store within. It's just like a store. That's all I can describe it. The pictures were actually quite overwhelming to see.
Yeah, Mattress Firm does a great job setting up those spaces, trying to make it as comfortable as possible for the customers walking through. And again, it's like you said, it's hard to envision without actually seeing it in person. But yeah, they do a great job of making it way more than what a typical trade show booth would be, or one that would imagine walking through a trade show in Las Vegas, for example. Yeah. But yeah.
Pretty cool. Well, one day, if I'm ready to deal with the traffic, I found out I have family in Dallas, so I'll be going there probably a little bit more regularly, but I might need to visit that state fair. But honestly, I don't like lineups, and the older I get, the grumpier I get about it. Yeah. But, maybe I would like to just see the phenomenon called the Texas State Fair, if for no other reason, just to eat the food.
Yeah, yeah, it's you got to do it your first time at a fair, and I know I did years ago, and I try to stay away from it now. But it's fried Oreos and corn dogs and everything you can imagine they make there. So
yeah. Well, Texas is notorious for bigger and better, right? Everything's big in Texas. I've heard that for years, even before I went to Texas. And then I went there and went to a Buc-ee's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, a Buc-ee's, for those of you that don't know, and probably most of you have heard about it, it's a gas station, but on steroids. And I took my family there a year ago for my kids to meet this long lost family that we found we have in Dallas. And kept telling them about this gas station, and they just couldn't comprehend it. It's almost like it's a booth at the state fair. Okay, you have this vision in your mind of what a gas station is, and it blew their minds. They they just were in awe, just walking around, staring at everything. It was fantastic. But that's kind of what Texas is all about, eh? Bigger and stronger and better. Now, you are the sales and business development VP for Infinity. Tell me basically what your job description is. I mean, sales and business development is one thing, but what does that involve? Like, what are your primary tasks?
I mean, it's definitely changed over the years. I mean, I've been on board with Infinity since kind of the end of 2011, beginning of 2012. And we have, you mentioned earlier the, selling online, and, it's definitely transitioned from an e-commerce website, helping to grow the brand, become who Infinity is today. Today, as we speak, yes, I'm the VP of retail sales. I mean, what I oversee currently is, the retail channel itself. Again, we started that one in 2019 because we were very well diversified in other channels, Costco, et cetera. We were in Brookstone back in the day when they were still around, building their high-end chair. But today, and again, 2019, starting the retail channel, we knew that was an avenue that we need to go after, and we'd be successful in because of who Infinity is today and the brand recognition that it has today in the massage chair world. And I think you can speak on this too down the road, but I mean, the quality of our product compared to others out there, the support that we give our customers, we knew the next big thing needed to be going after furniture retailers, right? Yeah. So today I do oversee that. We do have, underneath me, a East Coast and West Coast regional manager who oversees a certain part of the territory, East Coast and West Coast throughout the country. We do have reps throughout the country as well who are going in, doing training, etc. On there. I kind of wear multiple different hats. Of course, the business development part of it is trying to find new partnerships and channels throughout to sell our product in, where we can have people selling our product for us, right? We're really not trying to sell direct. We want them to be resold. Going into Canada is something else that we've been diving into the past 12 months, and having a distributor up there now has been kind of a great new step for us as well. Even product development. I mean, I know you got to meet David Figler. He's our VP of product development. I mean, he's unbelievable what he does. He's been doing this most of his life of product development. I still, do help a little bit when it comes to product development. As you know, I'm overseas in China about once a year with the factories, helping, develop new products. I'm kind of the eyes and ears because I'm in the sales role, right? I mean, I'm in the field, so I'm seeing what other people are either coming out with or what other people are asking for, and that's, what's the next big thing? You've seen it transition probably more than I have throughout the years, but going from your typical massage chair that has a back mechanism in it and a calf to adding a foot to it, to adding shoulders, to arms, to foot rollers, to now an L track, to now a dual mechanism, to split track, to flex track. I mean, as we keep going on, of course, technology is going to advance, and we want to be the forefront of it. And that's a big part of also what I do. I mean, again, I've been with the company from pretty close to the beginning of Infinity developing. So we all kind of wear multiple different hats, but to answer your question strictly right now is, the retail side of it. Mattress Firm we were talking about earlier, that is another channel that I do oversee in the relationship with that partnership. So between their stores, the events that we do with them, like the State Fair Texas you talked about, product development. It's the list keeps going, as you know. I mean, you kind of got to do it all.
Yeah. Well, and massage chairs are becoming more part of the wellness fabric in America. I suspect that, we're going to see more and more distribution channels open up. I also think we're going to see more and more wider diversity between good chairs and bad chairs because people are trying to get into the market to try to make some money. And I think we're going to see, we're just going to see a lot of things, good and bad, blossoming over the next number of years.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, that is the case. I mean, you've seen it. I know, people probably reach out to you all the time that are trying to make a name for themselves, trying to make a quick couple bucks and bring some massage chairs in that really haven't been through QC or ETL certifications, and they're trying to make a short money on this product and not support it the way that you should support it.
Yeah.
I mean, the back end, I mean, you got to see our headquarters, and it's, 45,000 square feet. That is pretty much warehouse, 30,000 of it, and it's parts. It's not inventory. I mean, we want to make sure that, we can fix someone's chair. You saw our tech support center, our customer experience center. I mean, that's what separates us from our competition. But yeah, people are coming out there with these chairs, and the outside of them, they look like a high-end chair. But, you actually had one time, years ago that you took apart. I mean, once you actually look at the mechanism, a lot of these chairs that look like true 4D L-track massage chairs, high-end, are what you'd experience, what you used to try back in the day with those spin disc seat toppers.
Yeah.
It's a spin disc massage, but you go on eBay, you go on Amazon, it looks like what you're selling, but at the end of the day, it's not. It's not a moving robotic massage chair. Yeah. It's a broken down version. And that's why they're able to get very low pricing and or sell it at very low pricing and not be able to support it the way that this type of product needs to be supported.
Yeah. Well, so we get calls all the time about these lower priced chairs. We did a broadcast with our Utah technician, Justin Milone, who's fantastic. He's been doing it for us for over 10 years. But, we asked him, excuse me, and he said, I'm so sorry. He said, you get what you pay for, because he fixes all the chairs, right? Cheap and expensive chairs. And all he said was, he didn't say, well, this brand sucks and this brand's better. He didn't do anything like that. He just said, you get what you pay for. And he said it a couple of times. And that's, of course, something we've always believed in and we've said to our customers. But to hear a technician who has no bias towards the company he's fixing the chair for, or a bias towards the retailer whose customer it is, or a bias towards a particular customer, he's just fixing a chair. He doesn't work for any one company except his own. He just fixes chairs. And it's nice to hear his perspective because it's a very unbiased perspective. But anyways, I wanted to say, if you don't mind me just interjecting this story. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened here.
No worries.
This is something that happens when you get older. Your voice just goes wacky. Anyways, there was a time, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but it has to do with Infinity. There was a brief period of time when we know you guys have always been top notch with support, top notch.
Thank you.
And your chairs are all made in one of the best factories in China. And I actually visited that factory back in 2017. It was an eye-opening experience of going to a factory in China. But it was fantastic. Anyways, there was a brief period of time, and I don't recall exactly what went on, but I remember it seemed like it was taking longer to get Infinity chairs fixed. And so I mentioned that to you. I think it was to you. And the next thing you know, I get an email from Jim, from Michael Garceau, the CEO, and they're saying, we're transitioning, we're hiring new people, we're training. It's a little slow right now, but we want you to know that we're aware of it and we're working hard to fix it. I just thought that was such a great comeback to my concerns about the tech support. I remember thinking, oh no, is there tech support going downhill? Well, shortly thereafter, everything was back up to where it should be and where it used to be. So even dealing with me with this one guy who's just kind of saying, hey, is everything all right with your tech support? It seems a little slow. You guys, everybody responded to me. I was so tickled pink by it. But that's typically more representative of how your support is. Quick response, taking care of things, making sure that everything's getting done. But I hope you don't mind me sharing that. It was kind of the good to bad to good story. It was
no, not at all. Because again, someone who's spending, myself, if I'm going to go spend $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 on a product, you want it to work, and when something goes wrong, you want it to get fixed. And right. Again, I think that's why Infinity has grown, not only in sales, but it has grown as a brand that it is today in the massage chair world, because that's what we push on. I mean, if we can't support the product in the field and have good back end support back at headquarters, then no one's going to believe in us and sell our product. I mean, again, you have been selling our product for years and understand how important it is to us to take care of the customer. And at the end of the day, that's what all that matters. Because if not, especially today's world, they go online, they complain about your company, they do this, they do that. And, it can really hurt a small business. And we strive on customer support and customer experience.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately, even though you guys may be, when I say you guys, the distributor may be slacking, it's going to be reflecting on the guy that sold them the chair, or the company that sold them the chair. And we have suffered that from certain issues in the past, that the distributor didn't take care of the chair, and the customer blames us for it, and rightfully so. We're the ones that took their money. And so, yeah, it's a sensitive subject for me, because we believe we believe strongly in customer support. We do some very unique things with our lifetime labor warranty, et cetera, et cetera. But it's nice to be partnered with a company that takes it as seriously as we do, and you guys do, and I appreciate that very much.
Of course.
You mentioned, you talked just in passing, split tracks, flex tracks, et cetera, et cetera. Could you define for us the difference between a split track and a flex track, if there is any difference at all?
There isn't. Today, I think that'd be a better question for our VP of product development. But to my knowledge, a split track is something where on the actual pivot part of where the tailbone sits in the chair, that it's almost two separate tracks with something that kind of goes over where the two tracks meet, if you will.
Yeah.
That you're able to separate the top part, or an S track, if you will, that you'd see back in the day. Mm-hmm. And then the L part of it being underneath the glutes is where it's able to kind of separate and recline back like an S track chair could. So you could almost be flat or inverted. And then a flex track is something where it is able to flex downward to give you that inverted feeling. I see in one of your pictures, you have one of the Smart Chair X3 behind you, right? That chair has been around for years with Infinity, and it's still a great seller because, it's one of the very few S tracks out there that's a mid to high price point that gives an amazing decompression stretch. Yeah. So when L track technology came out of getting the benefits of your lower back and glutes, we lost that stretching capability because you're always in that fixed L or always in that zero gravity position. So factories and even distributors who help build chairs like ourselves, that technology started to come about where how do we get an L track chair and get the features and benefits of an S track, and then being able to do mechanical traction like you used to do back in the day as a chiropractor, or decompression stretching. So that's kind of how it separates. I would, technology wise and the benefits of it, I would consider them being almost the same. As long as the chair can somewhat separate, or the track itself flex or separate at the pivot point, then you're able to get a stretch is what's the most important part. Yeah.
Well, and we've grouped different companies use different terms, right? Split track, flex track.
Yeah.
I've even seen one chair. The graphic of the roller shows that it's an intact L track, but it bends with the weight of the body and with the recline of the chair. And I don't know. I don't think I've actually seen that on a real roller track. But we've kind of grouped those two together because they're kind of giving you the same effect. And the one that we saw also did not have roller mechanism at the top and roller mechanism at the bottom. They had one roller mechanism that went through that entire flex track. But and I suppose the S track, the split track really is quite a relatively new phenomenon. It's only been around for 4 or 5 years, I think. But I think that's going to morph as well over time, because these factories have this cool thing now, and now they're going to kind of tweak it and change it a little bit and adapt it for different uses. But
absolutely. Yep.
Now you guys, and we do need to meet with David Figler as a product development guy. He kind of knows what's going on, and I'd like to meet with him. I think that would be maybe a good series of interviews talking about product development, because there's a lot that goes into it, and more than people realize. It takes, I think I've heard, like anywhere from 18 to 24 months to develop a product, maybe even longer. So there's a lot that goes into it, but that's
I'm
another
losing
topic.
you a little bit, Dr. Allen.
Uh-oh. Is the internet? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yep, I have full internet right now, so I should be good on my end. Yeah, I can hear you now.
I don't think it's you. I think it's us. We had a problem with one of the other broadcasts that we had to come back and do a part 2. So I'm hoping this holds up. Now,
right.
You guys under the umbrella of Infinity massage chairs, we have Infinity chairs, you have Kyoto chairs, and you have Sharper Image chairs. What? First of all, can you discuss maybe a little bit about the different lines? Maybe if there's some notable differences between one line versus another, and maybe also they have different distribution channels. Maybe you could speak to that just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the Infinity line is our, it's our top line. It's the one we started with, and it's got normally a better warranty with the Infinity product itself. We are, again, very diversified as a company, so that's sold in retail channels and Costco roadshows that about, and throughout the country. The Kyoto brand was really built to have another brand, right, and to be able to diversify and not have much. And that was kind of the biggest thing there. You'll see Kyoto massage chairs on Costco.com. You'll see them on a lot of e-commerce sites. Before you opened up, 4 locations now, retail, e-commerce sites like Massage Chair Relief and other stores out there, they were selling the Kyoto brand. And again, that was really more to broaden the horizon. I mean, and you see that with our competitors today, right? Our Osaki's and Kozia, they have other lines because they want to diversify on where they're selling certain product. So it's very, very similar, the same for us. Now, Sharper Image, that was more of a licensing deal that, we're actually moving away from. So Kyoto and Infinity are the 2 lines that we'll be pushing forward towards for 2025. Yeah. And we might have something else popping up at the middle to end 2025 as well.
Those chairs are primarily, are they all made in the same factory, or are they made in different factories? Uh-oh. Did I lose you, or did you lose me?
You're back now. You weren't there for a minute.
Oh boy, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on here. It's this internet connection. But have you found that are these chairs built in the same factories? Are they built in different factories?
It's depending on the chair. I mean, every distributor in the United States or brand, they kind of build in a couple different factories. Depending on where they're selling and quality, price point, etc. But yeah, no, I mean, a lot of them are built in the same factory. The quality is not any different than what you'd experience with Infinity. I mean, it's supported by Infinity. And again, we want to make sure that the product is as high end as possible. It's just you need to have different brands. I mean, it's kind of very similar to the car industry, right? I mean, you have Volkswagen and Audi. I mean, at the end of the day, the quality is the same. You just got some extra badges on it to make it look a little bit higher end when it comes to an Audi. I mean, it's still supported by the conglomerate of Audi, Volkswagen, Lamborghini. They're all owned by the same company. So, don't think buying a Kyoto that you're going to get less quality or spec or features in Infinity. It's sold in different distribution channels.
Yeah. So the Kyoto is primarily online, right?
It's primarily online, yes.
Yeah. Well, I can't even remember if we had a Kyoto chair in any of our showrooms. I know we had a Sharper Image briefly, but I don't know if we've ever had a Kyoto actually. Well, no, we used to have the Yosei. The Kyoto Yosei used to be the what was that? That used to be the Infinity brand. I don't know, but you repurposed it as a Kyoto. We did have that one in our showroom.
Yeah, we did rebrand it, and again, we definitely, when we are building chairs, we are changing programs on it and specs and features, and some of these chairs nowadays have ionizers and wireless charging. Maybe when it goes to a different brand, it doesn't have those extra features on it. Again, everybody's trying to hit a certain price point. I mean, you can probably talk this more than anybody, but I mean, even when we first started or when I came on board Infinity, I mean, the average selling price of a massage chair was between $3,000 to $4,000.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and now we're looking at 7+, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the industry has drastically changed on what someone's willing to spend on a massage chair and, you know, of course, to fulfill their health and wellness needs at home.
Well, and the technology's changed too, like you say. I mean, back when I got started in this business, you know, I had an HT 125, Human Touch 125. It was just a back roller and some calf paddles. That was it. And that chair sold for, you know, about $1,900, $2,000. And I remember when I first started my website in 2005, that was the first chair we sold online, was a Human Touch chair. And I remember I remember a friend of mine telling me, another chiropractic friend of mine, when I told him what I was doing, he said, "Who is going to spend that kind of money online?" Yeah. And that was his line. And he thought, this is never going to work. Well, I remember when we sold our first chair for $19.99, I was so thrilled, so happy. I just couldn't believe that someone would buy a massage chair from me online. But it turned out to be, you know, now $2,000, you don't get a good chair. I mean, you get a chair, but you're not going to get a full featured chair for $2,000, not even close.
I mean, Infinity doesn't even sell a chair below that. I mean, we don't even, you know, dabble within that price point range. I mean, again, our Infinity brand is more our higher end brand. Yeah. When it comes to price point, I mean, the entry level price point for Infinity today is like $3,300. Yeah. Well, for a full featured chair, you will not find a good chair for around that price or less. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find them. But anyways, that's obviously another topic. Maybe talk to product development guys that know a little bit more about what's going into these chairs. Do you see any kinds of shifts in the industry? For us, we noticed a big change after COVID when the inflation started going and people were holding on to their money a little tighter. Have you noticed any trends in the industry as a whole recently? Well, I mean, this past year was definitely a little bit slower, just because of the economy and leading up to being an election year. I mean, as you know, Q4 is normally is when things start to pick up. I mean, a lot of people do buy these for the holiday season. We're starting to see things pick up here at Infinity anyway. So, especially with the election past us now, I'm hoping going into January 1, we're going to see definitely a big turnaround compared to this past year. And people, right after COVID were spending the money that they were getting right away, and they were buying stuff for home usage, and we all saw a lift. And in the past probably 18 months, it really started to slow down when they were holding the money closer to their chest. But I think we all hope that's going to change now that we have the election behind us going into a new year. But yeah, I mean, that's my point of view on it. If it's right, who knows? I guess we'll all see, but that's what we're feeling. Yeah, it kind of feels that way so far for us as well. But like you said, it's right before the election. Yeah, it's one thing. After the election, seems to maybe people are loosening up a little bit, kind of relaxing a little bit, and kind of interested to see what is going to happen over the next 4 years. But it's really amazing how that event can affect the markets, stock market. It can affect buyers' cycles. It can affect product, not development, but introducing new products. It can affect a lot of things, and we've seen all that especially over the last year. But I'm encouraged by what we're seeing so far this November. But you can't, like you say, you can't gauge the strength of the economy solely by Black Friday. It's always going to be a little busier, but how's it going to be January on? That's what I'm very, very curious to see. Do you have, Mike? Do you have any insights into technologies or innovative ideas that are being worked on either in the factories or maybe that things that you guys are looking at? And I don't know how much, even if you can answer that question, but I'm wondering if you're seeing anything that there is to look forward to in the massage chair industry. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to, right? I mean, we're working on stuff every day. I was on a call last night for 2 hours with our factory in Asia. I mean, we're always working on new innovation, trying to be the leader in innovation within the industry. There are a few things that I won't be able to talk about today on the call that we're working on that hasn't been seen out there. But yeah, I mean, you've seen it evolve, especially over the last 18 months or 24 months, really, of seeing some of the newer technology. You're having different types of foot massagers come out with, shin stretching. You're seeing the bigger tablets coming out on the chair. That's kind of a new thing people are looking at. Having the user interfaces be like more like cars, like you see in new Teslas and whatnot. I think there's a lot of new things coming out on the horizon. I think in the past 2 years, the whole AI of body measurements and understanding your heart rate and your blood oxygen levels to give you a massage. I mean, we've all seen that in a lot of the chairs today. I would probably say that's the latest that's currently displayed. But yeah, I mean, we're working on a few things that we've never seen in a massage chair before. So, I mean, I can't talk about them too much today, but definitely we'll let you know once we are bringing it aboard. Yeah,
I'm curious because this AI thing, I kind of have a beef with it, just using the title AI. These health sensor things have been around forever, and in massage chairs have been around for quite a few years. But I think real AI in terms of massage chair functionality, I think it's going to be very different than what they're calling AI today.
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. I mean it's a marketing term, and unfortunately there's a lot of companies out there, not even in the massage chair world or industry. I mean, they're all using the terminology of AI. AI. Again, I'm not a scientist on AI, but AI has to go out on the internet and like you use GBT chat, right? A lot of people use nowadays. I mean, that is AI. You're putting something into the system. It's going out there on the World Wide Web, and it's pulling all this data to give you something. Now, again, you can call it AI. It's, again, in my opinion, and this doesn't speak for Infinity, but personally myself, I mean, it's not true AI, right? I mean, they're using it as a marketing term. I mean, and I think a lot of the things that we talked about earlier with flex track, split track, or when 4D came about, a lot of times people were talking about 4D because it was better than 3D. But in the 4D terminology is, some people say it's the various speeds that the rollers can go. Yeah. I mean, as you and I know, the speeds or velocity of how fast it moves in and out is not a true dimension.
Yeah.
But it's a marketing term, and everybody followed suit. I mean, I've seen chairs out there advertising saying it has 8D. Tell me what that means. I mean, no, you know what I mean? Because it's a dual mechanism, it's now 8D. I mean, I think a lot of this terminology is, unfortunately, it's the sizzle that people want to read, and that's why they end up buying them.
Yeah, I don't even think people know what D means for the most part. But I am a little embarrassed to say I'm kind of bought in on the 4D terminology. It's so much easier to just to go with it. But the adjusting, being able to adjust the speed of the rollers as well as the depth, that is important. I believe that's an important factor.
Yep.
I just don't know if it's considered a dimension. I don't know physics enough to be confident to say this is the fourth dimension. And I think I've kind of bought into the lexicon. So 4D. Yep. Let's go with 4D. Now, AI, I haven't bought into that one yet. The closest thing I've seen to AI is a feedback mechanism on the rollers that is constantly sending data back from the muscles back to the engine of the chair to determine if the rollers need to go deeper or shallower based on that person's muscle tone. And I think that's probably the closest thing I've seen in the industry to AI, but I really don't know. But I'm curious to see what comes of it. Like, it's like any new technology, like AI, we're just scratching the surface of that one. So it'll be interesting to see. And I'm sure in the factories that you guys use, it's probably a discussion in those engineer roundtables about how they're going to integrate this into the massage chairs they're going to build.
Yep, absolutely.
But I find that I do find it fascinating. And what's interesting, if you don't mind me again, kind of offering my opinion, but people are, most of the chairs that are built now they come out of China. Like the vast majority of them, I'd say 99.5% of them. You've got a few that we got one made in America. We've got now truly a couple of models that are made in Japan that are in America. Only maybe two. That's it. And then we've got one American, and then all the rest are Chinese. And we get people coming in thinking that the Chinese products are garbage because that's how the world has viewed Chinese products for so long. The same way they viewed Japanese products when I was a kid. Japanese was crap products because they competed with the American products. And of course, that was crap. Well, now we know Japanese products are fantastic. And I think now with the Chinese products, and I'm sorry we're getting into product, this is like product development topic, but it seems to me, and I know you guys are in sync with me on this one, the products coming from China are fantastic. They do all the innovation. I mean, where did foot rollers come from? Where did calf rollers come from? Arm rollers, split track, L track. It's all Chinese. It's all Chinese engineers that come up with these ideas at those factories. They have the capital and the money to invest in that kind of innovation. And I do think it's too much to say that Chinese chairs are garbage. I think cheap Chinese chairs made in small Chinese factories that have cheaper parts and terrible quality control, that is something. But I'm sure we would see that anywhere because there's always factories or people that are trying to cut corners and save money, but at the expense of the quality.
Yeah, but, no, you're 100% right. I mean, again, even when I first came on board the massage chair industry in 2011, 2012, it was still a question, right? People would ask, is it made in Japan? Is it made in, and I'm saying no, and I think that at times have really changed, and especially within the factory that we're in, like you stated earlier, it's one of the best in China, right? It's the quality wise, you got to see it. They've expanded that factory by twofold, believe it or not, since you've been there. Oh yeah. And the quality of it is, I would say I'd compete with anything in Japan that's out there. It's a whole nother level. And, you hit the nail on the head when you said, if you're going to go look at a cheap, small Chinese factory, yes, you're not going to get the best quality. And that's not how it is, especially with our product. Again, you see it. It's one of the most highest quality product out there, even when you compare it to a Japanese product. And, everything from how smooth the roller is, how quiet the massage chair is, the air valves. It's a whole nother level of where it used to be 10, 20 years ago than where it is today.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, they've changed so much. But, that's where not all of it, but that's where the majority of the brain power is in the massage chair industry, is in China. Yep. And they are putting out good products if you get them at good factories. I don't know. Would you say there's hundreds of factories in China that build massage chairs?
There's probably 100 or so. Again, we don't really deal with anybody else. So it's if you want to if we want to keep going the way we're going and having the brand that we have today, we need to stick with the higher end factories and quality. And we've had that great relationship with our factory since day one. Yeah. There's always factories out there. I remember being at a random factory probably 8 years ago, and they were building a Panasonic footrest. And, the people in the US, they probably think Panasonic builds it, right? And there's a Panasonic factory, but that's really not the case. A lot of that stuff is outsourced. So it's, there's a bunch of factories out there, but I'd say there's a top 3 to 5 that you'd have to work with. Yeah,
I agree. And that's what I've heard over the years. And I think it still holds true. But you never really know. You never really know how good or bad the chairs are without honest, objective reviews, not just at the time of purchase, but after a length of time of ownership. Because that's when you can really gauge how good a distributor is and a factory is in terms of building chairs. Unfortunately, there's not enough reviews out there of all brands, I don't think, of how good these chairs can be in the long run, which is what really matters, right? Everybody's excited when they buy a chair and they were great. The ordering went well. We got the chair. It's awesome. But what you don't hear are reviews maybe 6 months later.
Yeah.
And maybe an independent, objective group of, marketing group needs to go and do that and contact owners of all makes and models to see how these chairs have held up and how the support has been and how cheap or good the products were made. So it's tough to know. So
yeah, I think that's what separates Infinity from our competitors out there. Again, we're not just building chairs from what our factory gives us, right? I mean, we're building chairs from scratch. We're from the design work to the choreography of the programs to the remotes, the tablets, really changing everything. We're not just slapping a logo on top of a product off the shelf in a factory and saying, okay, bring it over. Where a lot of our, a lot of the brands in the US, that's what they do. But you can get more of this, more out of this when you talk to David on the extents that we go when it comes to the quality of it and the customization of it that we actually do as Infinity to our product. I mean, having employees on the ground overseas to really make sure everything is 110% before it comes over to the US and to sell their customers.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that discussion with David, and hopefully we can get together with David maybe in the new year. But I'd love to talk about the product development. That stuff really interests me as well. Distribution and product, those are the two big cogs in the wheel. Of course, support's huge too, and all those other things that we've touched on today. But I'd love to go into more discussion on that. Michael, is there anything that I've missed that you would like to bring up or talk about? Anything that you'd like to chit chat about? I've asked all my questions.
Yeah, we've had a relationship for so long, Alan. I mean, I feel like I know a lot about you. I mean, you've come to visit us a couple of times. I mean, you've been to the headquarters. We've gone to Bruins games. I know it wasn't your Oilers, but we've been to the Bruins games. And I've been, of course, I see the sales that you guys put through. I mean, I guess like one of the questions I had, and we kind of started to dive into it a little bit when we started talking about the phone calls that you would get about these, I don't want to say non-name branded products, but like these companies that are trying to approach you saying, hey, I'm a new massage chair brand, put me on your site. Like I felt like and please don't take this the wrong way, I felt like for a couple of years ago, for a short period of time, you were kind of putting anybody on the website. And now you've really kind of narrowed it down to like who you want to work with, what actually is a good brand, quality, product, service. What are the I guess, what do you go through? What are the questions you're asking these companies, or even how many of these companies approach you on a monthly, yearly basis to try to get you? Because again, I think anybody who's trying to do this or to try to start a massage chair brand, I mean, I know you're not going to believe me, but you're one of the most popular sites out there, right? I mean, you are, between your blogging and the post and social media, I mean, you're the massage chair guy, right? I mean, I think when I first came on board, I watched your videos from years ago. So, I mean, what are some of the things that you're qualifying these companies that you don't really know before you start putting on your website, or even taking a floor sample in one of your 4 locations?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we have struggled with that because we want to see, we want to carry good quality products, right? And companies that'll offer good support and, good warranty. We want to deal with people that we can trust. And having a name brand is important. And some of these companies don't. And we've experimented with a couple of different models over the years, and I would say we don't get asked as much maybe as we used to, but boy, we get hit up maybe 3 or 4 times a year to carry different products. But I really shy away from it because I've been burned before. As a matter of fact, one company, I won't mention, they're not even in business anymore, but we sold a number of their chairs because we had product in one of our showrooms, and we can't get parts for them. They shut down during COVID. They completely shut down. And another company, I don't know. They weren't very good in their customer support. The product, they're still out there. They changed their name. They're still out there, but we thought it was a good brand, and we went to their headquarters, and it was a pretty big. They had different product as well. I know you guys started off with massage chairs, and along with you had other products before that, but we felt comfortable going with them, but we learned pretty quickly that their customer support was not great. And even to this day, when one of the customers have a problem, we still struggle finding parts for it or getting the chairs remedied. It's a challenge. Having said that, it's like the major brands. There's Infinity, there's Osaki, there's Human Touch, Luraco, Daiwa, Panasonic. Furniture for Life people. Those are the main brands that we know we can trust in terms of they're going to be here tomorrow. They've got good, for the most part, good customer support. Every company goes through periods of bad support, good support, as we talked about earlier. But really, what it comes down to is how the company supports our customers. That is the biggest thing for me. Like you say, chairs can look pretty cool, and it looks like they've got all the same features. They might even have been built in the same factory as some of the name brand chairs. But if we can't get parts, or they can't fix the chairs. Or one thing we had a problem with was they said, "Oh yeah, we'll fix chairs around the country." Well, when we sold a chair to someone in Texas from a Southern California company, they couldn't go out and fix it. So we kind of had to take care of that ourselves. So I hate to say it, but it's pretty much, we try to rule them out. And there's some companies that come to us that we've already heard about them. We already know that their customer support's not great, and I won't touch them. I don't want to sell I have a lifetime labor warranty, for heaven's sakes. Why do I want to sell a chair that's not going to take care of me? They're not going to take care of my customer, and I can't. And they're going to break down all the time. So I got to pay money out the nose to fix their chairs. But sadly, Mike, it's like sometimes I don't know until we've had to do business with them. And then we learn, okay, this is not good. This is not good. So, and then we part ways. So that's kind of how it goes. We try to do as much due diligence as we can, but then it's basically just, okay, let's see what happens.
Gotcha. No, that's good. Again, you see all these companies out there, and you mentioned earlier they're trying to make a quick buck and not selling at the prices they should be to be able to support their customers. And again, a lot of times the spec or the actual what's in the chair isn't really what they think. And again, we've said it 100 times, but the support is one of the biggest things, and what Infinity believes in at the top of our list. Of course, on top of the quality of the product. I don't have too many questions for you. I guess one of the questions is probably one of my last ones is kind of just, you now have 4 showrooms, correct?
Yeah.
Are you looking to open up another one?
I got to tell you, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm getting older, and I had a stroke a few years ago, and it's kind of like I'm kind of looking at mortality right in the face, and I just don't know if I have the energy to want to do it, or I don't know. I'm afraid to expand, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Maybe the right thing will come. I don't know, but I'm not as actively engaged as I was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and again, it's been exciting to see. Because I think, when we first started together and you selling Infinity, you just had your one shop in Salt Lake City. Yeah. And, and now you're Arizona and LA, and is it Sacramento?
Oh, the Bay Area and Fremont.
Bay Area. So it's been exciting to see you grow like that. One other thing I asked you in the past, and, what is some of your people like Michael, who's in LA? What are the most important things to a customer when they come into your showroom? Either what's most important to them of what they want a massage chair, or what are they asking that isn't out there yet, right? I guess it's a 2-part question.
Well, the biggest thing we get now is we want a chair that's $2,000, $2,000 to $3,000. That's what people want. And I know when I hear that, I know they've been on social media and they're getting hit with these ads for these chairs that are $2,500, $2,800, everything you could ever want in a chair. Everybody's happy. By the way, that's a red flag. If everybody loves a chair and there's no bad reviews,
Yeah.
that is a red flag. We used to say that years ago, even about the popular chairs, like when the Inada Dreamwave came out. Not everybody liked it. It's just like your chairs. Your chairs are freaking awesome, but some people, it just doesn't fit their body. They don't like it.
Yeah.
But when they get these $2,500 chairs and everybody's happy, and the massage chair industry is a scam, and we're going to save you all this money. Oh my gosh, that kind of stuff we see more and more of, and it's tough to combat that, right?
No, I'm happy you brought that up. I mean, your response, because again, we get questions like that all the time from multiple different channels that we sell within. I mean, one being the retail channel, right? I mean, having a brick and mortar store, they're seeing these ads too, and they're asking us, what are we doing selling a $5,000, $7,000, and $9,000 chair in my floor when there's something that looks similar? But again, we've already dove into this, but it's not, and it's all smoke and mirrors at the end of the day. It's not the same product. It's not the same quality, and good luck getting it fixed when there's an issue.
Yeah. Well, there's one chair that gives you like a 365-day test drive or something like that. And you know what? We call those chairs disposable chairs, because they're not going to take that chair back after 360. They're going to tell you just to chuck it out.
Yeah.
And and that's because they don't have in-home labor. They don't have in-home warranty support. Why? They couldn't afford it. There's no way they can afford that, especially if it's a cheaper made chair. But there's a problem with perception, but perception is dictated by marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slick videos, slick images, slick graphics, a team of doctors working on a massage chair. That's one of my favorites. A team of doctors. It's probably a couple of chiropractors sitting in a back room going, man, we get these chairs pretty cheap at this new factory in China, and we can put our name on it, and then we could say we designed it. It's the marketing that is so slick, and I am envious of the marketing. I think it's fantastic, but it's smoke and mirrors, like you said. The support is not good. People don't think about the support when they buy a chair. They think about the deal and the coolness of the advertising or what the slick videos or whatever. They do not. Very few ask, now, what happens if my chair breaks down? What do we do? Who's going to fix it? Do I have to send the chair somewhere? Like, they don't ask questions like that.
Yeah.
And we've got to educate people a little bit better. So that's kind of what our focus is right now.
Yep, absolutely.
I hope I didn't sound too fired up about that.
No. I'm on the same page. I mean, we can relate to this in any category today. I mean, you can talk about cars, right? I mean, there are these cars you can buy online from China and they ship it in a crate, right? I mean, what happens when it breaks and something goes wrong? I mean, there's TVs, same thing. I mean, you can go and order these TVs that instead of spending $2,000 on the best TV out there, and you can spend $200 online. But again, and depending on who you're buying from, and we can compare this to every product out there. I mean, that's sold in the United States today. You're gonna buy a brand name. I mean, if I'm buying a car, I'm gonna buy a car that I trust. Buying a TV, I'm a Samsung guy. I'm gonna buy a Samsung. I mean, that's just. You're going to stick to the brands that are going to support you if there's an issue, and the quality is going to be good.
Well, and it's up to you and I to promote that. We have to tell people, Infinity is a good brand. We only sell chairs that have good customer support. That we only sell chairs that have in-home warranty support. We have to promote this, because then people will say, "Oh, Infinity, I got to check out Infinity, or I got to check out whatever brand." And that is something that the onus is on us to get that word out. And, but it's not easy when everybody's trying to sell, buy cheaper stuff. But anyways, Well, thank you, man. See, you were worried about, gee, is this only going to be 15 minutes long?
Well, I want to make sure you give the people what you want to give them. So
Yeah. Well, I told you it would go on because these discussions are great. I love them.
yeah, no,
Because
absolutely. It's always good. I mean, again, I feel like we talk probably once a week, but it's always good to get on with you and just talk shop. And it's always a pleasure.
yeah, I've enjoyed this, Michael. Thanks for coming on. I don't know if you were anxious about it at all, but I thought you did fabulous. And I thought that the topics we discussed were very relevant. And
Yes.
I think people that are going to watch this or who have been listening and who are going to be watching and listening will derive great benefit from it. But thank
absolutely.
you. Thanks for taking time. I know, like I said, I know you're on a little vacation with your family. They're probably pestering you right now. Please, Daddy, can we play? or honey, how long is this going to last?
Yeah. I'm sure I'll get that when I go out there.
Anyways, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here today, Michael, and hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, Alan, you too. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Take care, my friend.
All right.
Bye-bye.